Hi, Niruzi. Hello, Jagriti. Hello, Vidhan.
We are live.
Hello,
Namaste
Brahmakumaris.
and a
Wow.
very good evening to everyone. I'm Mandara Popat and I'd like to welcome you all to today's ICANN conversation. ICANN conversation में आपका हार्दिक स्वागत है. We have a very special conversation and a very special speaker lined up for you today. But before that, I'd like to begin by telling all our participants a little more about ICANN. ICANN, that is India COVID Action Network, is an initiative to help underprivileged communities that have been hardest hit due to COVID-19. It is a unique moment to combat the pandemic through an online platform that connects those who are in need of help and those who can provide it. Our COVID warriors work from home, activating the on-ground community networks and mobilizing resource providers in order to connect the two and ensure that even the most vulnerable sections of society can sustain themselves through these difficult times. COVID warriors are spread across different states of India and steadily growing day by day. I'd like to share our COVID impact bulletin for today. Till date, the total needs fulfilled by COVID so far stand at 4,407 points of contact, and we have 4,068 COVID warriors on board, 3,294 NGO partners, and COVID has impacted a total of 3,86,408 lives till now. We will now quickly break into our ICANN anthem.
मुश्किल है आन पड़ी ये कैसी कठिन घड़ी सहमी सहमी जिंदगी बिखरी हुई बंदगी मानवता है पुकार रही दिखाएं हम दरिया दिली I can you can we can India can I can you can we can India can हम सब मिल जाएं तो मिलकर हाथ बटाएं तो टल जाएगी ये घड़ी झूमेगी फिर से खुशी आशा टूटे नहीं हौसला रूठे नहीं साथ ये छूटे नहीं मंजिल दूर नहीं मानवता है पुकार रही दिखाएं हम दरिया दिली I can you can we can India can I can you can we can India can
Very good. Nice.
Thank you so much for that note of appreciation. I would also like to take this moment to express my gratitude to all our COVID warriors. I would request all our live participants and audience members to also log on to our website, covidactionnetwork.in, and partner with us as a volunteer or as an NGO or even as a private organization who is willing to make a positive difference. Now coming to our discussion today. Today we have for you the amazing Dr. Mickey Mehta with us. And while he
So I'm on live. I'm doing live with one platform, NGO platform, and you'll be able to hear me, see me.
Hi, sorry, I think there was a slight issue with the internet. Apologies. Sorry, so I will begin again by just welcoming our speaker for the day today. Today we have the amazing Dr. Mickey Mehta with us. And as I said, while he needs no introduction, I'd like to share a few of his noteworthy achievements with our audience. Dr. Mickey Mehta is a global leading holistic health guru and a corporate life coach. He's the recipient of the Health and Wellness Icon of India Award by Economic Times and is among the 100 most impactful wellness leaders of the world, as announced by the Global Wellness Conclave in 2018. As we all know, he's the first personal trainer of India starting a revolution, the first fitness columnist, and the first fitness TV and radio presenter in India. And he still continues to educate us on these channels. He's the author of two very successful books, The Shunyam Quotient and Lose Weight, Gain Shape, with 5 more books coming up in the pipeline. He's the only one in India to have an honorary double doctorate in holistic health and life sciences for integrated medicines. He has been invited to speak at multiple prestigious organizations such as the Harvard University, IITs, and IIMs. He has the rare distinction of training our police, our army, the Navy, and the Air Force. And as we all know, he has been coached to Miss Indias, Miss Worlds, Miss Universes, along with several Bollywood A-listers, politicians, and India Inc. billionaires. He has also partnered to support the government's Fit India movement. With this brief recounting of his vast impact, I'd now like to welcome the author, poet, philosopher, the brand in himself, the institute, the legendary Dr. Mickey Mehta. Welcome, Dr. Mickey Mehta. Thank you for taking the time to join us today.
No big deal. It's fun. It's fun to work with kids, and it's fun to work with people who care for the others. And of course, this word, I can, these two words, I can, resonates Obama's campaign. And it was such a positive campaign. And that's my, the first leader of the world that I admire the most. And of course, second being Mr. Narendra Modi, but Obama, yeah, I can.
Thank you, Dr. Mickey Mehta, for resonating that motivating slogan at the start of our conversation. So on that note, I would like to request Dr. Mickey Mehta to get us all energized, naturalized, optimized, maximized, wellness revolutionized. In effect, get us all Mickey-mized.
So, okay. So Mandira, Disha, Shreya. Well, let me tell you that it's very unfortunate that we had to meet under the circumstances of the pandemic. We could have met otherwise also and done so very many things, but nevertheless, I come to the point that bless Corona, bless COVID. Why? Because of that, so very many good things are coming out. I'm getting so much of time with my family. I'm getting so much of time with my mom, with my in-laws, getting so much of time with my child. I'm getting so much of time for self-development. I'm getting to eat only home-cooked food. I'm getting to do my own work. So many self-realizations, self-actualizations. How much of awareness has grown and how much of, developing talents and skills I've devoted my time to. So time is the most precious gift the divine could give man, which was almost in scarcity, absolute paucity. Now man cannot complain, I don't have time to do this and that. Man has time to do everything he, she wanted to. And now we have time to look into the welfare of the underprivileged. Now we also have time to look into the upliftment of the worthy. So of some of my wellness commandments, my third commandment is the best exercise for biceps is uplift the poor. The best exercise, my fourth commandment is best exercise for shoulders is to take responsibility of the underprivileged, which you guys are doing. The best exercise for a good vision is to have a collective vision with collective consciousness for everyone's growth. The best exercise for strong legs is to be deeply rooted in humility, to be better rooted in humanity. Then of course the other commandments are sleep every night with a wish to heal yourself, wake up every morning with a promise to heal the world. Can you imagine? And of course, let me come to my first commandment of wellness. Let wellness be the religion number one.
Right.
Religions divide, wellness unites, wellness integrates, wellness makes you holistic, wholesome. Wellness makes you pure, wellness regulates, wellness integrates, wellness celebrates. So your alignment with devotion and sincerity gets heightened with wellness, and then you can become a better Muslim, better Hindu, better Christian, better Parsi, better Sikh. So let wellness be the religion number one. Join Dr. Mickey Mehta's wellness revolution for human evolution, not for weight loss, not for inner thigh, outer thigh, the upper body, lower body kinds. That's so stupid. A man or a woman sounds so stupid when they talk about this shape. When they talk about the transformation of characters and personalities, which happens through the challenge to the evolutionary process, and of course, your wellness, fitness, health, wellness, well being takes you to the heights of building characters and personalities. So, what typically happens is that a man and a woman, they take shape in terms, metamorphose, and polymorphism happens. Polymorphism, which means that we are playing so very many roles. You're a daughter, you're an executive of your NGO, you're a friend. You could be somebody's lover, you could be somebody's sister, you could be somebody's employer, employee. There could be 10, 15 roles we all play. And when these roles keep shifting every moment, there is stress. But when there is stability, uniformity in all the roles, when polymorphism becomes unimorphism, that is the time you become very stable and very calm and relaxed. So wellness takes you there. Wellness revolutionizes the whole process of uplifting, transforming, transcending mind, spirituality, upgrading your biochemistry, okay, upregulating your physiology, and upregulating your mental functions, your emotional being, and your spiritual astuteness.
So I have a question here, Dr. Mickey Mehta. You said that you're using a lot of time for self-development right now in COVID. What are the things that you're doing for self-development?
Okay. So earlier also I used to wake up early in the morning and, go and pray to the sun, soak in the sun.
Right.
Have breath for breakfast, soak in the sun, have breath for breakfast, have my herbs. But these days I do it 5 times more. Number 2.
That's what is showing on your skin probably.
Number 2, I have delved more deeper into yoga than earlier before. So I am beginning to unravel the secrets of yoga. So yoga means huge, joining, yoke, connectedness, integration, okay, holisticness, wholesomeism. Now, and also that means theism. Now coming to yoga, means asana. Asana, which means that postures for awareness, asanas for awareness. And what happens in every asana? Your mind opens up. As your body opens up, your mind opens up. And as your mind opens up, your body opens up. They keep correlating, they keep corresponding. As your body becomes agile, your mind becomes agile too. And when your body says why not to a particular posture, your mind says why not to a possibility of life, to every possibility of life. And your left and your right side of your brains, they both function together with the heightened convolutions and heightened firing of your neurons and heightened synaptic connections more than ever before. And your body gets better coordinated between left, right, between the equilibrium, the balance. So psycho-neuro-muscular coordination is to the heightened. You become so aware of what's happening in the body in each posture. Let's say you're doing a chakrasana, a bridge, and there is a 90 degrees in between tailbone and the ground, earth. Right. Gravity gets aligned and gravity becomes your friend. It doesn't sap energy, it gives you energy. And the same energy you get, which the earth gives to every sprout to break open and break open the crust of the earth. It's divine energy. This is available only when you align and integrate and you come to shunyata, shunyam quotient.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
That's your book.
Yeah. One more thing. When you're holding the posture from the center to the extremities, your core is engaged with every part of your muscle, bone, tissue. Organs are connected also. So connectedness is heightened. So awareness of the body makes your body subservient to your mind. Then the mind increases tolerance and patience holding the posture. then the body increases resilience and tenacity holding the posture. So the human being becomes tolerant, patient, tenacious, resilient. Then because of the flow, because of the rhythm, okay, because of the conservation of breath and preservation of the body, what comes is your unit rhythm gets synchronized with the unity rhythm. Circadian rhythm gets synchronized with the geomagnetic forces, sunrise, sunset, moon phases, okay, high tide, low tide. So rhythm, and then your physical circulation is to the utmost, your lymph drains, your digestive circulation, your blood circulation, your air circulation. Okay, so all these energies circulate so well. With that circulation, benevolence happens, sympathy happens, empathy happens, philanthropy happens. Now, confusions are dropped and clarity happens. The fog is dropped and vision happens. Lethargy is dropped and productivity and creativity happens.
Right.
Okay, now fear goes away and faith happens. Despair goes away and hope happens. Anxiety goes away and courage happens. Weakness goes away and strength happens. Now all these things translate into making you a super invincible human being. So yoga translates into evolution, revolution of mankind, making personalities and characters. And when you become that, you self-realize the purpose of your life. Mark Twain said there are only two most important days in your life. First, the day you're born. And second, you realize why. Also, there's a lovely William Blake's poem which goes like this. We are led to believe a lie when we see from and not through the eyes, or we are born in the night to be perished in the night while our souls rest in the beams of light. So in yoga, you see everything through the eyes of the soul. And then you realize the purpose of your birth and you become the co-creator of your destiny. You have legs to walk towards it, hands to make it, mind to perceive it, heart to believe it, and a spirit to achieve it.
Whoa.
So,
Nice.
so you are what your deepest desires are. As are your desires, so is your will. As is your will, so will be your intentions. As will be your intentions, so will be your deeds. And as will be your deeds, so will be your destiny.
Absolutely.
So how did the book Shunyam Quotient come to be?
I was studying and researching a lot on Patanjali Sutras, on Dhyan, meditation. I was researching on Zen, Tao, Tibetan rites. I was there researching on Shiva Shakti, Krishna consciousness, researching on the Greek way of prayers. And I understood that the commonality was zero. And the Indian Aryabhat, Indian philosopher, Indian mathematician, came out with this concept of zero, which made counting go to infinity. And because of that math, science happened. And it's only because of zero that quantum physics has happened. And it is because only of that the modern science has taken shape. Otherwise, digitally, we wouldn't be talking to each other. Without quantum mechanics, we wouldn't be here. So quantum mechanics and quantum physics is the physics of the smallest, science of the smallest. And the theory of relativity is the science of the biggest. When these theories marry together, okay, then there is a science of everything, theory of everything. And we are just about to hit the nail on, realizing this theory of everything.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Dr. Mickey Mehta. So the final objective being wellness and achieving the Shunya quotient. But coming back to our current times, 1/3 of the world is under lockdown and we're all facing a lot of uncertainty and there's a fear of psychosis and fear of the disease. So under such a circumstance, what are the beginning 10 steps or 10 commandments that you'd suggest that we could all take to move towards slowly graduating to a Shunya quotient that we all aspire for?
Okay. So I spoke about the 10 commandments already. So disease, uncertainty, these are the words of the weak. These are the words of the people with very poor self-conviction, self-esteem, self-confidence. For people who believe in themselves, so extraordinary are those who know that there is something within them which is superior to circumstances. Okay? Champions are born out of challenges. Every situation, circumstance is a challenge. How to optimize that is your power. Is your power as a human being. When nature reached the highest point of existence and creativity, man was born. And when man reaches the highest level of consciousness, of creativity, God again is born. So we are all gods in seed form. So we are all Christ, Krishna, Saraswatis, Savitri, Gayatri, Muhammad, Zarathustra, Buddha. We are born of a great lineage, especially in India of our Sanskriti. We are born of Rishi Munis who were poets, scientists, and philosophers. All together. In Rome and Greece, philosophers were separate, scientists were separate and mathematicians were separate, and they always fought together. But our Rishi Munis understood everything, they saw everything, they realized everything. And they called Earth Bhugol, even before modern science called it round. They called Earth Jagat, jiski koi gati ho, even before we had tools to see that the Earth was moving around. So they could understand the planetary movement and the astrological charts and numbers and figures. So we are the lineage of that. We shouldn't feel compromised. Deaths would happen even otherwise every day, X amount and X amount of lives. People would take birth. X amount will marry every day and X amount will divorce every day. X amount would fall in love every day and X amount would fall out of love every day. X amount will go to bed fulfilled every day and X amount will go to bed unfulfilled every day. This is the cycle of life. This will keep happening. Sansara. This is keep happening. The ratios may go up and down sometimes. You'll be surprised to know that between January to now, if we were to take the counts of death out of all diseases put together, they would be still much more than out of COVID. Now, COVID is showing up for one basic reason. Every wise doctor and scientist is talking about this, including the likes of me, Baba Ramdev, Sadhguru, Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, Mahansaji of Yoga Institute. That it is only because man has lost immunity. Man has become like a gutter. So let's make our bodies and our universe and our earth gardens and orchards again. Let's smell fresh and taste sweet again. So if we were to make our lives gardens again, we don't know what COVID is. It may be there somewhere. People may be dying out of it. People weak compromised immunity. Those who don't know how to breathe. Those who don't know how to eat. Clean eating. Those who don't know how to sleep. Those who don't know how to exercise. Those who don't know how to be creative, productive. The worst use of imagination is stress, and the best use of imagination is creativity. So if you have a good use of imagination, why would you think about COVID? What is COVID? I mean, I don't know what COVID is all about.
That's right.
Okay, so while the Zoom has stopped due to some tech problems, I will wave out to my friends. Satish, hi. Swaps, hi. Hey, Zini and Rani, darling, hi. Madhu, hi. Madhu Artfulness. Vaidya, hi. Are you guys on?
Are we
Yes.
back on? Yes.
You guys are on. Okay, so come on, let's answer you guys again.
Sheetal, maybe you want to.
Yes. So, sir, as we have a lot of NGOs and organizations who have registered with and are working on grassroots and community level, so what suggestion would you like to give them to build and promote community well-being?
So you must know that before you go out to human community, there is a cellular community in your body. So internal cellular community well-being, breathe, sunshine, eat green, vegetarian food, clean, wholesome food, have dinner by 7:30, sleep very well, embrace Ayurveda, do meditate, sing, dance, pray, love everybody, help everybody, support everybody, resonate on the level of love with everybody. Okay, so look after your cellular community, then look after the human community. And then, of course, let's connect with all the communities wherever we can reach out. So, first, wherever our hands can reach out, then, wherever our legs can reach out, then, wherever our heads can reach out, wherever our hearts can reach out, and finally, wherever our souls can reach out. With the combination of all the reach outs, you would have engulfed and enveloped and transcended this universe. So, you can pretty much reach out to everybody. Okay, so reach out to everybody. Do the smallest, if not the biggest. If you can't, pray, love, wish for everybody. See, you have servants at home. We have watchmen in our society. We have sweepers in our society. We have vendors coming to our society. Give them lots of food. Give them lots of clothes. Give them medicines. Make sure that no one in the home of your maid, cook, driver, society watchman ever goes hungry. Make sure they don't go illiterate, uneducated. Make sure they don't go in pain without medicines. They are taken care of. Just take care of your inner circle. If everyone were to take care of the inner circle, there will come one day in our lives that no child will ever sleep hungry. No senior citizen will be ever having lack of love and lack of medical treatment. No family will ever be without a roof. And no lady will ever be without clothes on her and respect and love. If we learn to love our communities well, then the children born out of love will be all gods, all gods.
So I have a question. You mentioned that everyone should meditate.
Yeah.
But there are some people who sit to meditate, but they still have a lot of chatter in their mind. They're like, we just don't know where to start, how to start. And even though we meditate for months, we feel that we're at the same place from where we started. So how do such people actually find the right way to meditate?
So, there is no one way to the top of the mountain.
Right.
You could start at a point in the north, one could start at a point in the west, east, south, northeast, northwest. You could start at any point from the circumference of the mountain, as long as you walk upwards, as long as you progress and move upwards. So in meditation, the first thing is sitting with your eyes shut, disconnecting the perceptions of the eyes. What you see from outside should be disconnected. Then the theater of the mind will relax. Then whatever residual perceptions of the past will gradually slow down and die down only if you breathe slowly. And it will come to a pause gradually, not immediately. Then pause between thoughts. Then the gap between two thoughts will get longer, longer, longer. And then there'll be a clear sky. So it's a matter of a process. Doesn't matter however long it takes. Just being silent will help you restore, reorient, reset. It's like letting the yogurt set. Dahi ko jamne do. It's like a karma, yogurt karma. Yogurt takes 12 hours to set in darkness. But if every hour, if you were to put spoon inside to check, it will not set. Allow it to set and leave it go. Let it loose. Let it go. So meditation and yoga is about letting go, letting go, letting go. So when you let go, the superconscious works. When you interfere, you're stopping it. When you let go completely, the dhara which goes from inside to outside becomes Radha and comes back as a flow. Because you've opened up, you've quietened yourself, and the nature's intelligence of reorganizing capabilities, reorienting capabilities are at its fullest. You know why in Ayurveda in earlier days we always said bed rest, bed rest, bed rest, complete. Modern science is against bed rest. They say cesarean, third day go home. Knee surgery, fourth day go home. They're stupid people. You must allow complete recovery, complete turnaround process. Your body is not a machine. It is built of consciousness. We have to process pain. We have to process inflammation. We have to process all the kinds of discomfort and settle down and reset.
Right.
So meditation is all about processing everything in silence. in peace.
And
most important, we must, the energies must complement each other. Energies must complement each other and not contradict each other. And these energies, I think there's somebody switched on some Zoroastrian prayers.
Can you check what is happening?
Not in my phone though. Maybe somebody must have. Just one second, I'll call my daughter.
Proshidatum minotum vasnavastum husepar saramin Hanik fare beshterna taronish
I think it's in his laptop. Yeah, off now.
Did something come on? Are these prayers programmed now? Are you? It's fine?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect now.
So what was that?
Probably something got played in your playlist or something.
I didn't touch anything. I invoke spirituality.
It's your soul talking.
I invoke spirituality. So where was I last? What was I saying?
About meditation.
So in meditation, it's all about reset, reorienting, allow everything to fall in place and allow everything to settle down from being unstable to stable, from being distraught to being able, from being disabled to being capable. So meditation is all about orchestration, getting reorganized. But letting be, letting go and just being.
That's beautiful, Dr. Mickey Mehta, and we all hope to achieve and practice that kind of meditation in our everyday life. Today in our live audience, we also have a lot of educators and teachers who have joined us. So I was hoping you could share some thoughts and philosophies that they can pass on to their students, because there are a lot of issues that adolescents are facing nowadays in terms of modern trappings of social media, trying to do better than their friends, a lot of comparisons happening. So how do our adolescents maintain a healthy balance in their mind, their body?
Let's do one thing. First of all, let's make a group in Baroda. I have lot many groups in Bombay and other cities because I work with IIMUN. So, so I have a lot of groups. So let's make a group of youth in Baroda.
Right.
Okay? Let's make a chat group on WhatsApp. And let's start chatting so that I will start addressing, and students are my most favorite community. Students are the heroes, champions, achievers, and leaders of tomorrow. They are raw soil. You could make anything out of them. They could become anything out of whatever they want to be. So if you were to handle them with only compassion and empathy, they will be handled well. We don't need force. We don't need any kind of force. We need communication. We need empathy to understand their plights. We need empathy to understand where they're coming from and what are their difficulties. And the most loving community. So we can do. So if we teach students how to sit quietly, if we teach students how to do yoga, if we teach students how to eat healthy, if we teach students how to sleep very well, if we teach students how to pray, sing, dance, they've forgotten. They're so morose, they're so serious. So if we teach them all these things, jump with joy, drop the inhibitions, become extroverts again, don't be shy anymore, don't take any troubles to bed, deal with them in the day. I'm sure we'll be able to address it all. So Mandira, Disha, Shreya, let's make three of you be responsible. Let's make a student-centric group of Baroda. So let's take students between maybe 14 to upwards, 21, 25.
Right.
Yeah.
And let's take it forward. I would love to mentor you all and make sure each one of you becomes a super champion.
Thank you so much.
You must remember that on the ladder of evolution, only a man can climb higher than gods and fall below animals. So students must start climbing upwards, not climbing downwards by pubbing and lounge and getting drunk and shots and eating junk, getting doped, doing nothing, lethargy, not wanting to do anything. Life seems boring because they themselves are boring. Life doesn't seem interesting because they themselves are boring. If nobody, they don't find anybody else interesting because they themselves internally are boring. But I can help each individual child, student to find their niche and bring them back to life happy, wanting to fly, wanting to take a plunge, wanting to deep dive.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mickey Mehta. This would be the most valuable initiative we could undertake under your guidance and collaboration.
And let's create a new group.
Yes.
A new group. Let's talk this offline, three of us.
Absolutely.
And let's get started. While the lockdown is on, we can take off very fast.
Thank you.
What else? Tell me. I'm here. Happy to answer more.
I think Sheetal has the question.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. So, sir, as we are talking about youth, I think a lot of adults are also exposed to news, negative news. So, what would you give? What would you like to give a suggestion to work on positive local change and also on mass mind training? What is something that you would like our audience to know and work on?
Okay. So I would say that don't be WhatsApp warriors. Don't be the forwarding agent for somebody else's agenda. You may not even realize, but we have learned to subconsciously forward. Try and understand and evaluate that me forwarding this about Modi ji or Rahul Gandhi ji, this will cause so much of further negativity. Forward only the good work of good people. Okay? Forward something which, if you want to caution the community by far, you can forward. Fine. Let's say a leopard is let loose in your compound. You spot it, you forward it in your community. That's it. Otherwise, don't be forwarding agents. That's number one.
I think knowing the source is also important here.
Yeah, what I'm saying is whether right or wrong, don't forward.
Right.
How do you get into being a forwarding agent? Forward good philosophies. Forward upliftment inspirations. Forward motivational guidance. Forward hope. Forward love. Forward telling people I'm there. We are there. Only forward that. Okay? Start doing that and see the way your life changes. Disconnect yourself as much from the television news. You can take regular updates on what's happening by far. But you will be able to understand by seeing and assessing whether the news is a propaganda or it is a reporting. Believe, and that's it. We are students, we should not engage in politics. Don't. Many people will say, as students, this is the time to take a political position. No. I am here to find my source. I'm here to find my niche. I'm here to find my purpose. I'm here to find my means to my goals. I don't want to be political. Yes, when the time to vote comes, I will evaluate that who is doing the best work. I will not see which party. In my community, if somebody is doing a super work and that could be the worst party, I'll go and vote for that person. As simple as that. Yeah?
But I feel there is, a lot of distraction and peer pressure when it comes to adolescence and this age. And it's such a delicate age that you can't just restrict yourself because there is so much peer pressure around. How do adolescents deal with that?
See, I'll tell you, Disha. The birth itself is a challenge to human life. Okay? Because the very air you breathe is contaminated always. It will have all the germs community, bacteria, and the virus community. So you have to be like a lotus in the muck. जैसे कीचड़ में कमल. So, what is pressure? Don't identify and recognize pressure as pressure. Look at it like a wind. Look at it like a rain. Look at it like a harsh sunshine. Do you understand? So your perception creates your problem. The problem takes birth in your perception, not in reality. You understand? So if a person thinks about that, what if I cross the road, meet with an accident, what if I break my leg? So now the fear is in the perception. The stress is of the perception. But if somebody has a broken leg, lives very happily dealing with it every day, is not fearful of it anymore. So mind is always scattered into pieces because they perceive a million things, and million things are disjointed and disconnected, which is why it is mind is scattered and fragmented. So psychic problems start. Psychological problems arise after that. Yoga and meditation makes it whole again, puts it into one piece, from pieces to one piece into PASCE piece. PIECES pieces to one piece PICE, and which translates into peace PEACE.
Wow. That's wonderful.
On that wonderful analogy of pieces to peace to inner peace, Dr. Mickey Mehta, I actually want to ask a question related to that. You spoke earlier in the conversation about how many of us play so many different roles. We are a daughter, some are wives, and some are students, some are corporate workers. So, and we feel a lot of pressure to do our best at all these roles that we are inculcating in our everyday life. So in trying to do that, the first sacrifices of our wellness, our sleep, and our well-being. So how do we get out of that circle of that pressure and sacrificing our well-being for trying to be the best and do the better that we can?
As I interpret your problem, you're coming to just simply saying that you don't have time to do things. Am I right? Is my interpretation right? Okay.
Possibly.
Okay. All of you are 24 upwards.
Yeah.
You're my daughter's age. Okay. My daughter is 24. So let me crack a very naughty adult joke. Okay. Not a vulgar, but adult joke. So which is the busiest office under the sun? The President of United States. Correct?
Yeah.
So if President Bill Clinton had time to do everything he wanted to do, I'm sure we can find time to do everything we want to. Understood? So we can put our time in priority and preferential order. Simply prepone your sleeping time by 5 minutes earlier every day, and see the results in 60 days. See the results in 90 days by 5 minutes only. And for people who say we don't have time to exercise, take 5 minutes today and put it in your right pocket and work out for 5 minutes for the first month. Next month, take another 5 minutes and put it in your another pocket. 10 minutes. Third month, 15 minutes. Fourth month, 20 minutes. In 12 months, you'll have 60 minutes in your pocket. Easily. And those 60 minutes will help you transform, transcend, rejuvenate, revitalize, maximize, get Mickey-mized.
Thank you. I think this will actually help a lot of our audience members as well, because it's a very common issue which you translated very well. So we're looking forward to
eat green. But I have a good slogan for workouts without machines. Okay? Be lean, don't be mean, plug out from the machine, plug into your heart and go green. Be lean, don't be mean. Okay? Go green. Plug out of the machine, plug into your heart and go green. So even in food, go green.
Right.
Wholesome, natural. Let's not kill animals and eat. Let's not be graveyards for dead bodies of animals. Okay? Animals have rights to their life, their parents, their mothers. You know mammals? Mammals which we consume, which humans consume, mammals, and of course birds. When they connect with their children, there are emotions attached. Although Darwin said that only mammals have emotions, rodents and reptiles and probably some birds don't. But no, every living being who can talk, scream and express. If you can express, which means you have emotions. So let's respect life, ethical, intelligent and sensible choices of food. If you eat food which is alive, you will come alive. So if protein is important, the protein profile is also too important to choose. Everything that you consume, that DNA profile gets stamped on your DNA profile. It impresses upon your character and personality. The father of medicine, Hippocrates, said that let thy food be thy medicine, and the dead bodies of animals cannot be your medicine. But Stanford, Harvard, Cornell have said that vegetarianism can be completely healing. So healthy food and health food means food that can heal only. Natural, wholesome, unprocessed, unpreserved. Yes?
So
Yes.
people keep saying that, you know, non-vegetarian food is a source of protein. We don't know vegetarian sources of protein.
Also-
What do you have to say
Okay.
about that?
Okay, so non-vegetarians have how many choices of animals that they consume? Chicken, lamb,
Yes.
chicken, lamb.
Yeah,
Except beef and pig.
right.
4, correct? And fish, 5.
Yeah.
How many pulses do we have? Moong dal, tur dal, rajma, masoor dal, chana,
Can't count them on your fingers.
chora. Okay, we can get
Right.
7, 8, 9, 10 pulses and legumes.
Right.
Now, sprouts. Now, milk of organic A2 cow, ghee, chach, dahi, nuts. How many nuts? How many seeds?
Yeah, right.
So 5 versus 50 probably.
Right.
And clean source of protein. And the source of protein which can be assimilated, digested well, which will not give you disease, ailments, decay, death.
Hmm.
But WHO says that meat eating is harmful for health. But WHO has never said that vegetarianism is harmful for health. So vegetables cleanse you, fruits heal you, nuts, seeds, roots, sprouts, herbs fortify you. Your consciousness grows with vegetarianism. Yatha pinde tatha brahmande, tattvamasi, soham, aham brahmasi. We become what we do, what we eat, what we breathe, the way our thoughts are. So obviously your food influences on your processes of your character, personality, and the food also influences your creativity and productivity. Your food can endorse and confirm your spiritual prowess and growth, and your perceptions and your intelligence. Your food connects you better. It keeps you cooled. Vegetarianism doesn't inflame your body from inside. Animal protein creates acidosis, inflammation. And vegetarianism is absolutely and most alkaline, soothing, healing.
So these days there are many fad diets like, you know, keto, Atkins, paleo. What is your say on these diets?
कीटो को पीटो, शाकाहारी से जीतो. ओके? एटकिंस गया भाड़ में और पैलियो भी गया भाड़ में. शुद्ध शाकाहारी, 6-7 tastes of Ayurveda when they are complete: sweet, salty, tangy,
Right.
pungent, bitter, astringent. When 6 tastes of natural Ayurveda are complete in your thali, regional and seasonal choices, the nourishment is complete. And before food nourishes you, cosmic nutrition is important. Sunshine nourishes you. Fresh air nourishes you. Exercise nourishes you. Sleep nourishes you. Love and romance nourishes you. Charity nourishes you. A good massage nourishes you. A state of joy, laughter, song nourishes you. A dance nourishes you. And then at 11 or 12, food nourishes you. Okay?
Absolutely. So
Over Sheetal.
I think Sheetal would like to ask a question.
Sheetal ji, bataiye.
Yes. So, sir, as you spoke about food and the other great suggestions that you gave in, since most of us are working from home, what are few of the energy boosters that you would like to suggest?
Energy boosters. Okay. So when I say seasonal, regional, so great energy booster.
Um,
You know, when you smell good mangoes, you know what happens? There's a mood upliftment. Smell a good flower, smell a good rind, orange rind, smell a good cut lemon into half. Upliftment of mood. Your endocrine system begins to flow. Your nervous system is activated. Heightened energy comes to you. Cheer, joy comes to you. Then eat it. More, it will happen more. Okay. So celebration of life through breathing, food, exercise. All right. So in exercise, when you become a snake, like I would say serpentine, in Bhujangasana, your mind becomes so alert, sharp, because the snake is the most alert when it is standing. When humans from fours, when they stood, the brains opened up. Wheel happened, fire happened, poetry happened, love happened, art happened, music happened, emotions happened. Only because when man stood up. So, yoga gives you everything. Breath gives you everything. Now in yoga, there is one Dhanurasana. In Dhanurasana, you are balancing on a pinpoint of a stomach. So your whole concentration and focus is in that point to balance. So it is not the arrow which helps you to hit the mark. It is the bow which enables you, the Dhanur. But we give credit to the arrow. Dhanur makes you capable of focus, concentration, and seeing straight. Without the bow, you cannot see straight. The center of your bow is the center of your eye. Got it?
Yes.
Yes.
So I would like to take this forward, Dr. Mickey Mehta. And as we all know, we have 2 to 4 weeks of extended lockdown now. And earlier you spoke about how this is the time we should take to look inwards. And you spoke about the circle of life, consuming ethically. So I wanted to know that what are some other things that will help us stay disciplined and focus on rediscovering ourselves and looking inwards, outside of our usual regular selves.
You know, the biggest problem of mankind is seeking love outwards. When you give love to yourself and seek it from self itself, life becomes complete. Then you don't seek approvals also. Then you self-grow, self-evolve also. Then you become so complete. So self-love is number one. Self-interest is number one. Be selfish, that's number one. If you serve yourself well, you will serve the world better. Your internal universe, yatha pinde tatha brahmande, as is the atom, so is the universe. Your universe, when merges with the universe outside, cosmic universe, when the sacred geometry of this yoga, the lines blur with the lines of the universe and it becomes one sacred geometry, you get access to the intelligentsia of creativity, productivity, vision. Then what happens is insights, foresights, extrasensory perceptions, intuitions, multisensory perceptions. So that one thing what you need to do for yourself is self-love and serve yourself a lot. Seek love from yourself. Give love to yourself. You are complete individually. You are an indivisible duality. Individual. If you are a duality, you will always seek everything outside. If you are an individuality, you will be unique in your expressions. And that will change the landscape. That will be a shift in consciousness. From erratic breathing, you will breathe in rhythm. From erratic flow, you will flow in rhythm. Dhara, which will go outwards, will become Radha and come back inwards. There will be oneness, unism, wholeness. The philosophy of wholeness, that is complete, this is complete. Wholeness leads to wholeness. If wholeness is taken away from wholeness, still remains wholeness. So this is the modern science understanding of hologram. So you have a hologram chip, you cut it into half and you run the beams from two chips, they both will still give you the whole picture. Break them into 20 small chips. Each chip will still give you a whole picture. I am in it, in every bit of it. Every bit of it is in every bit of it. So, you know, a drop of the ocean in the ocean, but a drop of the ocean also has all the qualities of the ocean. But because the drop has the ego of the separation, it evaporates and loses its own identity. When the drop of the ocean will merge with the ocean, it will become the ocean, it will not die. Okay? So,
Thank
That's
you.
such a wonderful saying.
Yes, that's absolutely
I think we've learned so much in this 1 hour.
so. As
So,
we are nearing the close of our conversation, Dr. Mickey Mehta, can we do one more round of questions, or should we?
I'm happy, let's do it.
Okay, so Disha, maybe you can start off with a question.
yes, I had a question, which is you said that, you know, people should start working out probably from 5 minutes and then add 5 minutes every month, I think you said. So how do people make the most of those 5 minutes? What is that they should do to start with, you know, because there are a lot of beginners who are the viewers. So how can they start with a basic mindfulness workout regime?
So I think we can simply start with simple warm-ups of shoulder, twisting, turning,
Okay.
no-brainer, side bends, forward, backward bends, but extreme slowly. Remember, slow is life, speed is death. Relaxed workout is life, and intense workout is death. Warm is heat is life, cold is death. So everything slowly, rhythmic, breathing in, breathing out. Then Tadasana, then touching the toes, then Bhujangasana, then Parvatasana, then right leg in the front, on your marks, get set, go, back, then left leg in the front, on your marks, get set, go, back, then sit in Vajrasana, stretch up, and put your head down, okay, then lie down, stretch back, do double hugs, double cone Muktasana. Then again do Setu Bandhasan, push yourself up, make half a bridge. Then learn to make a full bridge. Then turn around. Then do Ulta Naukasan, raise your back and your lower body up. Then try and do a Dhanurasan. Then get again into, Bhujangasana, back into Parvatasan. Then do some spot jog. Then get into plank position. Then get your right hand up, left hand up. Again do jacks. Then lie down and do Shavasana. Simple.
Okay.
Only if you sit quietly for 5 minutes before you start your workout, your body will tell you what to do. And if you want to do fun fitness workouts with me, make a group of at least 300 students and we'll start working out at least thrice a week together, I promise you.
Thank you. That would be brilliant to actually be able to do that and glean off your knowledge and experience, Dr. Mickey Mehta. I just had a small request. If you could, a lot of times on Republic, you have often spoken about different philosophies of life and moksha. So I was just hoping if you could share some of those snippets with us and our audience as well today.
So, from social distancing, what comes to my mind is Vairagya. So Vairagya is distancing from desires. Automatically, every other distance will fall in place. You don't actually have to physically distance yourself. When you distance yourself in attitude, in greed, lust, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mad, maya, matsara. When you distance yourself with pride, anger, lust, envy, gluttony, avarice, sloth, automatically cleansing happens, shuddhikaran happens. When Shuddhikaran happens, Siddhi happens. So Vak Siddhi happens, Vachan Siddhi happens, Dhyan Siddhi happens, Karya Siddhi, Dharma Siddhi happens. Okay? So that is one. Then of course, understanding the purpose of your life. Okay, Dharma. After Dharma, then comes Karya and Karma. Let it flow. Pray for the others. And gradually, as I said, you make a group of a minimum of 300 students, and we will talk every 3-4 days. We will exercise every 3-4 days, and we will make a community, and we will call it Swasth Bharat, Mast Bharat, for a Naya Bharat, for a new India. Okay, and let's connect with every other. I will speak to IIMUN. They will help us connect to the whole community of India, and we'll make it big. We don't want to make money out of it, but to my every student community, my best should go out, and I will start posting my videos. So what you do, Mandira, for starters, if you don't mind,
Yes.
if you just were to go to my videos of my last 90 days from your dad's phone,
Right.
and send it out, let 90 videos to all communities, and start let them seeing and forwarding and seeing and forwarding.
Right.
Meanwhile, you start collecting people, 300 to start with.
Right.
And we'll start our first session of workout, and we'll keep it for 15-20 minutes each day.
Right.
We can do self-defense for women. We can do laughter. We'll do pranayam with Antakshari. So we'll have fun. Okay.
Okay, that is amazing, and thank you so much. I will definitely be following up on this and be taking you up on this offer, because this can be a very positive, impactful initiative for a lot of students and even people younger, the youth of India. Like you said, they are the future to lead us.
Yeah.
I think we have.
What you should do, 3 of you should layer up in a way that we bring students, Indian students, and otherwise, from every continent for this to become a rage. That we want to take the mantle of transforming the student community in making them the champions, heroes, achievers of tomorrow, so that the new world order will be full of love, no judgment, purity, nicety, compassion. Nobody sleeps hungry, nobody goes uneducated, and nobody goes in pain. And everybody has a shelter and respect.
Beautiful. So we'll definitely be looking forward to having state chapters and international chapters of this.
Let's do that. Let's start.
Yes.
Let's brainstorm on a name and let's do it together.
Absolutely. I think we can, if you're okay with it, we have one last live question coming in from the audience member.
Yeah.
Maybe Disha, you'd like to read that out?
Yes, I have a question. The question goes like, what does Dr. Mehta say about training the brain through neuro-linguistic programming?
So, yoga is nothing but the first ever neuro-linguistic programming. Yoga is nothing but first archetypal energy manifestation of emotional freedom breathing techniques, EFT. So all these things have been taken from us.
Yes.
All the Western techniques are taken all from India. Okay? So if you do yoga, if you do dance, if you do laughter, if you engage with people, singing, everything about neuro-linguistic programming will happen. So neuro-linguistic program transcends further in programming the mindset of your attitude, openness, optimismness, being absolutely centered, being not judgmental, breathing out anxieties, visualizations, affirmations. This is nothing but our Vedas talking.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mickey Mehta. So on that note, I would like to take this moment for expressing our gratitude for taking us on this interesting inward as well as forward-looking journey as we discussed various aspects of mental, physical, spiritual well-being, and the philosophies that you shared on the circle of life, living with ahimsa and moksha. So I'd like to also thank our audience for tuning in, and I hope that we can all get together and let's imbibe Dr. Mickey Mehta's wellness commandments to transform our lifestyles. And I hope we are all feeling a little bit Mickey-mized already. So thank you once again, Dr. Mickey Mehta.
I have this very, very nice 3 short mantra lines.
Yes, please.
Asatoma sadgamaya, tamasoma jyotirgamaya, mrityoma amrutam gamaya. Asatoma sadgamaya means from untruth to truth. May life move from untruth to truth. Tamasoma jyotirgamaya, may the life move from darkness to light. and mrityum amritam gamaya. May the life walk from the death to life force, from something that is impermanent to that which is permanent, eternal energy. So get energized, get maximized, get optimized, get naturalized, get internalized, get eternalized, get evolutionized, get revolutionized, get mesmerized, get hypnotized, get regularized, get revitalized, get Mickey-mized.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Let's meet, let's talk again.
Yes, please. That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Make a wonderful link. Wherever there were cuts, edit it well,
Yes.
brand it very well, show it to me, and then we will send it out to as many platforms and as many student communities.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Mickey Mehta.
Thank you, girls. Thank you. Give my love to dad. Thank you.
I will do that. Thank you. Bye.
And mom.
Absolutely.
Okay, so now when everything opens up, I'm coming to Baroda.